straight to the point, what resources did you use and how'd you use them?
Bonjour. Let's have a conversation about high-yield resources for the USMLE Step 1 exam. Most people give themselves 2 months for dedicated schedule, and fitting in all the things that you want to do. I recommend using Cram Fighter. I used it during my Med 5 to help me get everything that I wanted to get done. Make sure that I was going through Boards and Beyond one more time, Pathoma one more time, and I wanted to review Kiss Farm again and go through all the first aid again. Put in all the resources that you want to use and outcomes to schedule within the time frame. It tells you how many days, how many videos, how many seconds of that video to watch. Before dedicated, I use an array of resources. I got class of first aid, Boards and Beyond, Pathoma, and all of the physio videos I wanted to cover. All of those resources such as
Kaplan, DIT.
Personally, I wouldn't use them during dedicated. And when I say I wouldn't use them, what I mean is do not copy and paste the entire Boards and Beyond library. It's not the time. Dedicated is for dedicated focus, reinforcing the things that you don't know. It's not for overview. It's not for learning new things. Now, if you want to use Boards and Beyond during dedicated, of course, by all means, just copy over that one respiratory video that you need to watch. But you don't need to watch all of the respiratory videos, is what I'm saying. Especially not cardiology, because we know Dr. Ryan loves cardiology because he is a cardiologist. That will take you a very long time. Another resource is Kiss Farm. I used Kiss Farm prior to dedicated as well. Now, first aid. I had used first aid since my very first day of basic sciences. So my first aid was filled with tons of notes that I thought helped me understand the information in first aid. In my personal opinion, first aid is not enough. You will need to supplement with a little more information. And that my first aid was enough because it had information in there from other resources, and I had accumulated this information over 2 years. So preparing for the exam, my first aid was really detailed. Pathoma I used traditionally. I didn't change it up at all, but I used Pathoma before I entered dedicated. As far as questions, I only used NBME and UWorld. That is it. 2 things that I used for dedicated were my UWorld questions and Deja Review. Amboss is this really great, new, hot resource that everybody's talking about, and I like Amboss, but when it comes to dedicated and it comes to crunch time, there's not enough time. So if I had to choose between Amboss and UWorld, I'm going to use the USMLE World to prepare for the USMLE exam. Now, in my video about tips and strategies for the USMLE Step 1 exam, I do go over how I use UWorld specifically, but what I did was I would do 120 questions a day, and when I reviewed those questions, I would only jot down one sentence for the things that I found unfamiliar, the things that I needed to review again, and like to see closer to test day, and I would save those for my buffer days. More on that video will be added at the end of this video so that you can just quickly click on that one. For my exam, I reviewed 100 concepts anatomy. It's very, very good. It's all the anatomy that you need for step 1. It helps me. It was enough for me. You can find the deck, or you can get the PDF that's floating around. Search Reddit for it, or message me privately, comment down below, and I can send it to you. We all know the FAP mnemonic, which stands for UWorld, First Aid, Anki, Pathoma. Now, I use the same resources except for Anki. Substituted Anki for Deja Review. Deja Review is a little more hands-on, and it's a book. I'm gonna go get it. Okay, so this is what replaced Anki for me. I found that this book was a little easier to go through versus 10,000 Anki cards that somebody else thought that I should know. So I would basically make fake cards from this book. All I would do is, if you look at the layout of this book, I would simply put a sticky note either here or here and just review them myself. And then it was also a fun way to interact with loved ones because they would help me by just saying the on covered part, and I would have to say the answer. Back of the book, they have this wonderful make a diagnosis section, and it goes by subjects where they just give you scenarios and you make the diagnosis. It's very simple. It helps with recall. So that's the book that I use instead of using Anki. Now, other great resources, YouTube. I only use YouTube for public health sciences, epidemiology, psychology. YouTube is fast and easy, and you have tons of videos on there. I think Randy Neal are the videos that I chose to use for public health sciences. He was really, really good, and I highly recommend him. Like I said, this was going to be a very short video because I had already covered in detail all the things I used in my tips and strategies video. So I I hope you like this video. If you comment, I would be delighted, and subscribe and all that yummy stuff. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Peace for now.